Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, I want to get into AI editing. Specifically, I want to get into Aftershoot, which is a program that we've been using for the last, I would say like 4 or 5 months. The reason I waited in order to make a video is because I really wanted to run it through its paces and give you guys my honest feedback and honest reaction as to, is AI editing at a point where it's a viable option? To not keep you guys waiting around until the end, because I hate when videos do that, yes, I would say absolutely it's at a point where, even though I do still think that it's in the beginning stages, it's already incredible. So if it's only going to get better from here, we are in for quite the treat. And what I mean by that is when I tried AI editing, I can't remember how many years ago, it wasn't there. It wasn't really what I wanted it to be. It was still a little bit wonky. And even when I tried ImagineAi, I was like, okay, it's pretty good, but what I didn't like as far as cost went is that it charged per image. And for a studio like us, we do quite a bit of volume, from a cost perspective, didn't make sense. When Aftershoot came out with unlimited culling and limited editing, I immediately was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I figured they were going to charge a little bit more than they actually do. So there are different tiers and different packages that you can get. The top of the line one, or the tippity top, is, what is it, $60 a month. And the main difference, as far as what I can tell, is that you can have multiple profiles, which for us, we don't necessarily need that because we really have our standard preset, the one that we've developed. That's pretty much the one that's going to get us for 99% of the photos that we shoot. 95%. The 5% are the ones that are a little bit more funky, have lighting, and you kind of have to adjust a little bit more. But for 95% of our natural light or available light shots, the preset that we have works. So I did feel like the tier below that, which is $40 a month, that one made a lot more sense for us. And that's the one that I've been using for the last, like I said, 4 to 6 months, something like that. If you pay it yearly, also, it's a little bit cheaper from what I remember. I don't think I paid $40 a month. I'm pretty sure I paid it might have been like $330 for the year or something like that. So reach out to them and see if you pay it for the year, if they give you a little discount. More than likely they will. I also might have done it during Black Friday, I think, around that time. But in any case, how does Aftershoot work? First, you have to feed your profile. So you have to create your profile because it can't blindly know what you want it to do. So what I had to do is I had to feed it images. What I did, for example, I have every single job that we shoot has its own catalog. So that catalog and that job, all those photos are in that same folder. So what I did is I pulled everything in and then I told it to, from that catalog and from those images, only grab the ones that were flagged as your tone setters, as, you know, this is what I want you to learn. So it didn't grab every single photo because some of them weren't edited. So it grabbed the photos and learned off of the photos that we had already edited with the catalog included. What does that mean as far as learning? What it's doing is, in this situation, if we shot it a certain way and we raise the exposure by 1.25 stops, it's going to know in the future, if you get images that look like that and have those same parameters, apply that same kind of look. Now, in total, we've fed it about 33,000 images. It means it has 33,000 photos to learn from as far as the different scenarios that we shoot in. To the point where, I genuinely mean this, I can bring a job in and it'll get it probably 95% of the way where it needs to be. Now, the ones that we use off-camera lighting, the ones that we're getting a little bit more technical and doing a little bit of brushing or things like that around the image, yes, those are going to take a little bit more work, but you are bringing down your workload a significant amount just by running it through there. So for example, we come home from a wedding, right? And I will transfer all the images that evening and I'll tell it to cull all the images overnight. The next morning while I'm having breakfast, I'm gonna tell it to start editing all the selected images. Now, you can tell it to take out photos where people are blinking. You can tell it to take out photos where it's blurry. You can tell it how stringent it should be in the selecting process, whether you want a lot of photos or you want a little bit of photos. I always do pretty much as many as possible, because what I'm gonna do once I bring it into Lightroom is I go through the entire, here's another tip. When I import the photos into Lightroom after it's done the editing, I don't only import the ones that it's selected and edited. I end up bringing everything. And why do I do that? Because I want to be able to double check its homework. I don't trust AI completely. I understand that it's a great tool, but understand that it's a robot. It doesn't understand every single nuance. So if there's somebody crying and their eyes are closed or something like that, it might not select that, but you have to go through it and care as a business owner and care as a human being that might be a very important, it could be a grandmother that is crying and her eyes are closed and the program didn't select it because of that. Or maybe something's a little bit out of focus, but it captured the moment really well. Include that photo. So I still go through it and do its homework just to make sure that everything is selected that I want selected. And it'll automatically do some cropping. It'll automatically do, which I do set on because I apparently shoot with one leg shorter than the other, I guess. That would be the only explanation why my photos are always tilted. And then you can also do masking, which I don't do. Like AI will naturally do like masking and stuff like that. I just find it's a little too extra. I don't think most of our images necessarily need masking. Like I said, the creative ones, we do add a little bit of masking, but most of them, I think that, you know, if you shot them the right way, more than likely it's going to be in the ballpark when you do your standard preset. So just like anything, you know, to reiterate that, nothing is ever going to be perfect. This is a program, this is a computer, it's not a human going through them and selecting images. So even with us, like I still go through it and make sure that, hey, everything that I want selected got selected. Maybe I'll add a few extra ones. However, once I switched it over and told it to move that slider all the way to the right and told it to give me more, I generally haven't had the need to add more. If anything, I take away. So what I do now, my process is once I run it through the program, it's done its editing, it's opened up, I'll go through it and then I'll remove photos. Because if I do a family session and there's 350 photos, more than likely they're not gonna want every single one of them. More than likely, eyes are gonna be open, it's gonna be sharp, but somebody's making a face. AI doesn't recognize when somebody's making a funny face or they're in between talking. They see all the parameters. Hey, it was sharp, eyes are open, this is a deliverable image. That's why you still have to go through it. You still have to go through and make sure from a human element, if this isn't a flattering photo, we're not gonna deliver it. So that's pretty much as simple as I can get when it comes to Aftershoot. I'm gonna post this video, and then if you guys have any additional questions about Aftershoot, about AI editing, about any of that, leave it below and maybe I'll make a part 2 and kind of get into more specifics. But overall, would I recommend this to most wedding photographers? Absolutely. I think that it'll save you a ton of time, and I think that it's only going to get better from here. So if you have a lot of catalogs, you have a lot of images that you can feed it into the program, you're already ahead of the game, because you can feed, like, I just keep feeding it basically and feeding it like Wu-Tang said. I will keep feeding the thing until it gets better and better. Like I said, it's already pretty much at a really good place. Anyway, let me know if you guys have any questions. If you enjoy this content, if you can leave a comment, keep it respectful, please. And if you like what we put out there, feel free to subscribe. Thank you guys so much and have a great day.